Just 3 days after Sierra Leone's 68th independence anniversary, President Julius Maada Bio announced the cabinet reshuffle. The new list affected 5 ministries and 2 embassies, among others. One of the most significant appointments is that of Jacob Jususafa as the new chief minister. The former chief minister, Professor David Francis, has been appointed to head the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, replacing Nabila Tunis, who has been removed from cabinet altogether. Her removal has been criticized by gender activists and feminist groups, as she was one of only few women who were cabinet ministers. Other appointments include a new ambassador to Egypt in the person of Ali Kaba, who was Sierra Leone's permanent representative to the UN, now being replaced by Mr. Fande Toure. Solomon Jamiru, who was the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, before being appointed spokesperson of the National COVID-19 Emergency Response Center, has now been sent back to the Ministry of Information and Communications as Deputy Minister. Mamadi Gobe Kamara has been appointed as the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Mr. Abubakar Karim, Mr. Musa Paka, and Dr. Therese T. Dick have been appointed Minister, Deputy Minister 1 and Deputy Minister 2 respectively of the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security. And Mr. Sheku F. Bangura is now the new chairman of the National COVID-19 Emergency Response Center. There is still a question as to who will lead the country's finance ministry. But as of now, Jacob Jususafa and Professor David Francis would have to superintend that particular ministry. And tonight we will discuss whether or not these new appointments lays the tracks for the accelerated delivery that the president has been talking about. My name is Samuel Wise Bangura, and this is AYV on Sunday. Good evening and a very warm welcome to AYV on Sunday on Channel 43, on TV and on Radio FM 101.7 and all our different social media platforms. You can always be part of this conversation. Share with us your views, your comments, your questions on the Africa Young Voices Media Empire Facebook page. We would find time to go through some of them. And remember, alternatively, you can phone in and the number will be announced shortly. But on my panel this evening, I have the National President for Women's Forum Network, Sally Adams. Good evening and welcome, Sally.
Good evening, Samuel. Good evening, listeners and viewers out there.
I have with us Thomas Dixon, a media analyst. Thomas, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
All right. We push the conversation going as we look forward to receiving the press secretary and presidential spokesman, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi. But just quickly, Sally, let me ask you this question. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, gender activists, feminist groups, they've already criticized the government for taking, one of the few women who were full cabinet ministers out of the mix. But what do you make of these appointments and the removal of the only woman who was very much seen to be carrying a very heavy portfolio in the system?
Thank you very much, Samuel. But first of all, let's go back to your topic, which says cabinet reshuffle, restructuring for the...
Yeah, whether the president is restructuring the team for accelerated service delivery.
Services delivery.
Right.
Okay. First of all, when people are given appointments, all of them will not work the same way to deliver. Because some may have individual differences. And then let me tell you, Samuel, the president, when giving appointments, it clearly states it pleases His Excellency to appoint you as so and that minister.
Right.
Again, in a turn, he also has the prerogative to hire and fire the minister if maybe the minister do not prove to the quality of the job that he was given, or maybe that minister do not perform well, because now you are talking about service delivery, okay?
Right.
And when we talk about acceleration, it's to move faster, not at a slow pace.
Right.
So, and you know the kind of president we have. It's like a talk and do somebody. He wants to see people deliver in his cabinet. So, for us as a woman group, it was like a shock to us, because His Excellency gave his stance on the empowerment of women and girls. Even as far as December, he launched the giveaway policy.
Right.
And also, he also launched the sexual offences model court, which we think he wants more women to achieve. Now comes to the sacking of Nabila by name. Sometimes, when I will not say she did not deliver, and I will not say maybe she delivered, but sometimes when you are working with a team, this is about teamwork. If you don't have that good team spirit, okay, they will not be able to deliver as required. Here, in the case we are in, we have ministers who are full ministers. They don't talk neck to neck with their deputies in some cases. So as the deputies don't work in good terms with their permanent secretaries. And also, do you think will there be a teamwork in the process? No. And also, when given this appointment, do we or do the government really think about these people giving this appointment, whether they have the qualifications or they have the expertise or the skill to do the job? That's the question for everybody. So, I think Nabila was first removed from planning during the second edition of Cabinet Reshuffle, sent to
Foreign Affairs.
And then again, she was the only one removed recently. So for me, as an umbrella body, it is one of the most pathetic stories to us as women. Because, and the replacement of Nabila was a male.
Yeah.
Because we think if she was being removed, she should have been replaced by a female. I think that could have made us like a little bit ease. Yeah, but seeing her being replaced with a male, for us, it did not go down well with the women in this country.
Okay.
So we are just appealing, since HE has really vied to empower women, we are just asking that whenever short things are happening, to remove a female and replace with a male, it is not done. Because for me, a male can still go there and cannot perform. Because I don't know the basis they use to remove them. I don't know.
Because I was just going to say, a man was there and that man was removed and replaced by a woman. So a woman is also being replaced by a man.
But there are many.
I get that.
We are fighting for 30%, and
right.
we have not reached to 20%.
Right. Let me quickly just have Thomas Dixie's bites on this, especially the removal of Nabila Tunis as Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Yeah, I want to agree with Ms. Adams is the area of replacing female with male. I think there are a lot of, this is not the first time we've seen the president doing that. When he removed Priscilla Schwartz as Attorney General, Minister of Justice, she was replaced by a male. And now we've seen that the president has also removed a woman in a very senior cabinet position. And he has replaced that woman with a male. I think it's very unfortunate, to say the least, that is actually telling us that we don't have competent women to deliver her. There are no women in his party. Probably you might want to say he has to look at party loyalty. I believe there are more women who are qualified and competent in his party to be given that position. For me, I think we are giving lip service to women empowerment. We should not be giving lip service to women empowerment. We should actually empower them, give them the empowerment that they deserve. It's not about giving miniature positions to women, positions like deputy. Give them full cabinet position in serious ministries and let them deliver. That would also go a long way to motivate our younger folks, especially the ladies, our sisters, to be able to do better, to be able to aspire to work in government. But you look at the space in government, from the level of councillor, local level, to parliament, to national, to the cabinet level, you see that women are not given the position that they deserve. So I think for me, as somebody who is a man, but I'm very, very much conscious about women empowerment. I would like my wife to be empowered. I would like my sisters, my daughter to be empowered. So I think we must give the women more. And looking at your topic with regards accelerated
service
reconstructoring for accelerated service delivery.
Right.
For me, I don't think so. I think what we are seeing is positioning for politics.
In what way?
This is the positioning for the next election. It's not going to be there is not going to be any accelerated development. Mark you, we are told that JJ Safar was the best minister by the presidential award. Is that not so?
Yes.
And we saw the MCC scorecard on the Sierra Leone economic performance, which was very, very, very below par. And we've all heard that the cry of Sierra Leone with regards bread and butter. And then somebody who, in my estimation, has failed woefully in the economic sector is being empowered or promoted to the level of chief minister. And somebody who has not performed very well in the office of the chief minister, to the point that he marked JJ and awarded a failed minister in the eyes of the public as the most successful minister, has also been sent to foreign affairs minister. So you see, the president, for me, I describe it as sort of tweaking. How go call and commode goody. Look at what he did.
And I saw your Facebook post saying this is a Kotia Putia thing.
The president, if you want to restructure cabinet, if you want to do cabinet reshuffle and bring in, we are hoping that we'll see new people, new faces, fresh faces with fresh ideas. But what we are seeing is repositioning, not restructuring, repositioning. Bringing somebody like you are in the football field, bringing somebody from the 9th position to play in the midfield, bringing somebody from the midfield to play in the defense. That is what we are seeing. It is not restructuring, and it is repositioning for politics. Now, between now and 2023, it has to be politics all the way, and not accelerated development, as you may.
So let's go back. The president, when addressing his cabinet members at Buntumani, spoke clearly that 2021 is going to be the year of accelerated service delivery. So, and if we go back to Jacob Jusuf Safar, for example, I know you're one of few people when the previous cabinet reshuffle was done, you were thinking that names like Jacob Jusuf Safar, the bank governor Dr. Kefala Kalon, those names should have been very conspicuous in that list when it comes to replacement.
Yes.
And the president very recently in the town hall meeting was very pleased in his utterances with regards to the performance of those in the financial sector. Jacob Jusuf Safar, to be precise.
The president, in that I listened to the town hall meeting, and I think that answer is pointing to the obvious, that the president is cut off from reality. The reality on the ground. The economy on paper versus the reality on the ground is different thing. Go to the ground, you see people suffering. Go to the ground, people find it very difficult to get square meal a day. Look at the faces of Sierra Leonean. You see poverty lining up their faces. And then you take this man who has been in the economic sector, somebody who had bragged in opposition that he would turn the economy around in 6 months. And that person, you made him Minister of Finance. That person failed. And now you have promoted him. It's just for politics.
But he continues to superintend over
that
that
is to tell you that the president maybe he doesn't have any trusted person to put in that position, but I believe they are competent.
Just before you start, I mean, before we go into that, let me bring in Sally. Sally, you were talking about giving opportunities to more women to be in cabinet. We've seen one of those who were in. She has been removed. But again, you go to the Ministry of Finance, for example. Jacob Jususafa, the then Minister of Finance, said very clearly, and is on record, that now he doesn't need to go to Parliament because he's adequately represented by his deputy, Patricia Lavalley. So is Patricia not okay for the top job? I mean, wouldn't she have been a perfect replacement for Jojo Safai? So Jojo Safai himself said he need not go to Parliament. Patricia has adequately been representing him. I mean, doing extremely well.
Well, Samuel, you know, this is the country where we live in a patriarchal society when I think the male dominates women in every sector of life. Okay? So maybe for me, as Dixie said, JJ is still supervising the Ministry of Finance. But maybe this president is looking for another competent somebody to replace him. Because I don't think whether he will have to hold the two positions forever. No. But maybe they are looking for a competent somebody. Maybe they haven't got anybody to replace him yet, and they are looking for it. And this time around, I just pray that if they really want to replace people, let them replace people that will come and do better than people that cannot do, and at the end of the day, keep them removing back and forth, and it is undone. Because by removing will not even change. You can remove and bring another person that cannot even prove as the person that was being removed. So I think the government needs to go back to the drawing board. So like,
do you believe this move by the president, does this move speak to accelerate service delivery, or should we go by what Dixon just mentioned, that this is not a process of restructuring the team for efficient and effective service delivery? It's a way of repositioning players for political goals.
Well, I will not say really it's replacing for political goals. By changing them can even lead to acceleration. You understand?
Right.
That's if the people are really ready to deliver and work. Because you cannot force somebody to the scheme to drink. Even everybody wants to be given positions. But if that person has been given a position, not ready to work, I sometimes do not blame the presidency because he's working with everybody. Sometimes, as I said earlier, it's just they don't have good team players around. Because if even the minister is working and the other people under the minister are not working, maybe they have some fracas, as I said earlier on, that you may see in this ministry, the minister, deputy are not in good terms, something like that. So for me, it's not like it's a political favor. Only that Sierra Leoneans, when we are given opportunities to serve, some of us just don't serve.
Okay.
To our expectations.
Right. Very interestingly, Thomas Dixie, let me bring you in. You've listened, but let me just quickly welcome the Press Secretary and Presidential Spokesman, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Samuel. Thanks for having me.
All right. So the move by President Bill to actually bring in or change players in the pitch is to ensure that goals are scored. And but that's not your view. You believe this is a way of actually holding on to the game.
For the past 3 years, you've not scored goals. It's only the remaining 2 years you want to score goals by repositioning. I think, we are not seeing fresh faces. We are seeing the old same faces being tweaked from there to here to there. As I said, it's a repositioning, bringing the players who have been playing. Taking the one who has been playing 9, you put that person on in the 8th position, and the one who has been playing 8, you send the person back. So that has been the situation: repositioning of players and not restructuring. And I think for me, he has the president has the discretion, but you know, discretionary powers in this part of the world, we don't question it. But discretionary powers should be questioned in the interest of the office and in the interest of the country. Whether some of my, but I'm not actually disappointed, because the president himself said on the town hall meeting that he appoints people he knows, which is a sign of nepotism and cronyism. You will not see, and even the cabinet position is not reflective of the whole nation. The restructuring, it's not reflective of the whole nation. And we have a president who is talking about bringing the people together, and talking about peace and national cohesion. That should be backed up by action in your appointment. But we are not seeing that in his appointment. We are just seeing people he knows, appointing people he knows, the same cronies, the same.
But would you appoint someone you don't know?
Well, you appoint people who are competent. There are people who have track record of performing in this country, devoid of political affiliation, regional affiliation, or tribal consideration. There are people who have track record of performance. When you appoint them, people will applaud you. There are few appointments in his cabinet that have track record of performance, that people will applaud, always applaud when they are in position. Similarly, there are Sierra Leoneans across the board who are level-headed people, who have the record of performance. And when you bring these people in government, you begin to see that some form of seriousness is being injected into the level of the executive. But for me, as I said earlier, I don't think it's restructuring. I think it's repositioning for the 2023 campaign.
Let me bring in Yusuf Keketoma. First, Sally has expressed concerns that one of few women who were carrying heavy portfolios in the system has been replaced by a man, and she's taken out of cabinet altogether, Nabila Tunis. So first off, and the president has always been trumpeting his commitment with respect to women's empowerment, and how he's willing to create opportunities for more women to come in. And even at the town hall meeting, he mentioned that those women who can perform, who can meet the demands of the nation, he is always willing to work with them. But this, goes contrary to that pronouncement.
Well, thank you once again for having me, and apologies for coming late.
Yeah.
Firstly, I think to my brother Dixon, so sometimes I said to him that governance is not textbook. So when he said that the government has not scored goals, I mean, this is a government which for the past 3 years, we've passed the MCC. That's a massive goal. President Kagame in Rwanda, he has taken almost 20 years in governance. He has not passed the MCC. This is also a government, when we came in, we've repealed the Public Order Act, Part 5 of the Public Order Act. This is a government that we have reduced the inflation from double digit to single digit. Now we are 8.95%. This is a government that we have recruited 5,000 teachers. We have recruited 4,000 teachers. We have increased revenue mobilization by 67% as compared to 40% when APC took over in the first 3 years. So there are a lot of achievements we've made. So to say we have not scored goals, I probably think it's living in a different universe. So my sister, Sally, as I speak to you now, even with this reshuffle, 21% of the entire cabinet are women. Okay? This is the first president who appointed a female to be Attorney General and Minister of Justice. The first president, again, was appointed a woman to lead NACSA. So there are a lot of accolades. Of course, the president has always said, are there more that we can do? Yes, of course, because it's always a work in progress. Now, this is a government, for the very first time, we have a president, sitting president, who has launched the Gender Equality and Empowerment Policy. I see. Now, we are going to go to Parliament to do the Equalities Bill to make sure that 30% of political representations comes from political parties, So we are taking concrete steps. It's a work in progress. And before we come to the individual list and everything, in a nutshell, I've always said, this is the most competent government and cabinet you've got in our history. Make no doubt. What we normally do is simply this. Now, because we have people who are versatile, people who are multi-talented, what president normally does is to move them around. And when you move them around, you add new people as well. So for instance, Dr. Teresa Tenedick, this is a woman who has got a PhD in agricultural extension and rural development. You know, she's going to be an additional value. Rupert Davis, who is going to be the High Commissioner to Nigeria. This is somebody who has got wealth of experience in foreign service. You know, he has served in many, many places. So what you have seen is a cabinet which obviously you remember back in January when the president started. Now we are continuing. It is not repositioning for elections. What we are doing is to make sure that people who we know are more talented, for instance, like the Honorable Chief Minister, former, now he's going to Foreign Affairs, you know, and I think he's going to go there with enormous experience because he's somebody who has been consultant to many governments across the world. And we're also having people like, for instance, Jacob Shustafa going now as Chief Minister, wealth of experience, somebody who has done extremely well with the economy, you know. So we have a combination of people who are committed, devoted, and Section 56 gives the president the discretion and the prerogative to appoint people. He has a 5 years. He has a 5 years mandate, and by the time we get to elections, people want to know what he has delivered on, not people who have contributed. I'm also going to make mention of when Dixon said about cronyism. Right. President Biden, when he came to office, Anthony Blinken, the guy that he appointed as Secretary of State, this was somebody he worked with under President Obama. Janet Yellen, the President Secretary of State for Treasury that Biden appointed, somebody who was federal chair under President Obama. He worked with her as well, you know. So presidents all over the world, when they come to office, they appoint people that they have got track record of, because at the end of the day, they are going to be judged by what they deliver. That is what matters. And people who have confidence in and trust to deliver. That's the people that they're going to work with.
So let's talk about the individuals now. Thomas Dixon mentioned that taking Jacob Jusuf away from a ministry, according to him, where he performed woefully, he has failed. I mean, he did not do anything with respect to improving Sierra Leone's economy, and because the reality on ground from what's on paper, it's totally different. So why giving or why promoting him in his words? Why promoting Jacob Jusuf?
Again, the problem with Dixon, he speaks of his opinion. He does not speak on facts. He does not speak of any evidence. So when you come to a national television, you want to see somebody has performed woefully. Give me statistics. Give me the figures. I'll give him figures. Under his leadership, we've reduced inflation from 15.7% in 2017 to 8.95% under his leadership. We've increased, when we came in, the international financial agencies, they've all left. The World Bank, the IMF. Now, we've increased their donor support to Sierra Leone of over $800 million. This is under his leadership. This is somebody, again, because of his leadership, for the very first time during COVID, they established the special credit facility, $500 billion for the private sector, the Munafa Fund. So there are a lot of things that he has done. Increments for salaries for teachers, 30%. Increments for people in the security sector, 25%. People who used to have pensioners, who used to have 25,000 loans, now they receive 250,000 loans for their pension. This is under his leadership. There are a lot of work to be done. Nobody is saying that. But what we're also saying, he has managed the economy efficiently, and we believe that his movement to the office of the Chief Minister and also superintending the Ministry of Finance would give a different upward lift. And we think because of his experience as well, and his coordination skills with other ministers, it will be a good value to State House and a good value to the government.
Thomas Dixon also mentioned taking Chief Minister, the office of the Chief Minister, that office again failed, but taking him and sending him to Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, it makes no sense. So for him, bringing Jacob Jusuf, who is a grassroots who understands the politics better and who understands how things are going to work for 2023. That is why you're repositioning these players now in the pitch.
Again, the problem with my brother, he does not speak on fact. So let's speak about the Chief Minister. It's like almost saying you will talk about a gynecologist, but then they ask you the question, what does a gynecologist do? And you don't know. So what was the function of the office of the Chief Minister? The function was to coordinate, to oversee, and to evaluate government policies. We remember when he came to office, the first thing he did was to make sure that as a government, we saved about almost $2 million because he has to slash over 100 people in the office. in terms of wage bill. What did he also do? The Bintu-Mani conference, Bintu-Mani 3, was made under his leadership. He provided guidance towards that. But what also, because of his coordinating skills, we also remember he was chair of the mudslide committee that was set up to relocate people from the mudslide, 8 billion, and people were reallocated to different places, which saved lots of people. But what they also do, now as we speak to you, the Peace Commission, the bill, now is becoming an act under his leadership. We have also got the Agency for Disaster, which was also passed as well. Now it's established under his leadership. So there are a lot of things that he has done. The cabinet retreats as well. He has also done that effectively to make sure that we monitor and see how government is going. But also the ministerial performance management. Because when you have a government which does not performance manage itself, it's a problem. So part of his work as well was make sure that he coordinates, he evaluates, and then see how we're going. So I think, and we believe that, in my view, that he has laid the foundations and the architecture to make sure that when the new chief minister comes in, Jacob Josafa, because he's also experienced, is going to continue to add value to that office. But now he's also going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We remember in April 2018, this was somebody who was accredited for the very first time to serve in that capacity when he went to Commonwealth and when he went to Qatar in that state visit. You know, he performed extremely well. And this is somebody who has worked with the government of Rwanda and many governments across the world, consultancy for the UN. So he has got enormous experience at different international level to make sure that it gives a different facelift to our republic. But having said that, I also want to obviously commend Minister Nabina Tulis, because she did extremely well. She performed well. Remember recently we had the heads of state who came in, you know. She was also spared in that as well, managing that, you know. So she also did extremely well to contribute to making sure that we rebrand our country, you know. So I wish her all the best in our future endeavor.
Now, just quickly before I bring you in, Dixon, I know you are itching. But just before I bring you, let me, Dixon's foundation for saying the chief minister failed has to do with the fact that the chief minister was the one that managed the performance, of ministers. And according to him, that particular office awarded the Ministry of Finance to be amongst, top 3 performing ministries for the year. So that's in itself is a failure. Awarding a failed ministry to be amongst the best in itself is a failure.
But that is the problem with Dixie, because it does not have facts, it does not have evidence, it has nothing. So it's different when you give your opinion. So I can say, for instance, Dixon is the worst editor, okay, in the history of our country. It's my opinion. And because we live in a democracy, its opinion cannot be gagged. So that is his opinion. But I can tell him on TV, okay, that the Ministry of Finance and the Minister Jacob Josafa are done extremely well. I can give you figures, and that's what I've been doing. That we met inflation at 15.7%. Now, inflation is down as of March. And this is something he has always made mention to when it's double digit. I can also tell you, when he came in, the Minister of Finance, all the international financial agencies, they've left. Now, they've come back and they've supported us over $800 million. The same minister under his leadership, we've recruited 5,000 teachers, 4,000 health workers. We've also given increment salaries to teachers for 30%, 100% increment allowances for health workers. We are giving 25% as of April to people who work in the security sector. So we have been able to do all of this because we have somebody who is competent, who is knowledgeable, and who also understands the economy. And having said that, you can see there's always issue about bread and butter. So I'll take you back. When you went to, if you go to Nigeria, for instance, The price of rice, 50. And because we live in a democracy, its opinion cannot be gagged. So that is his opinion. But I can tell him on TV, okay, that the Ministry of Finance and the Minister Jacob Lucifer have done extremely well. I can give you figures, and that's what I've been doing. That we met inflation at 15.7%. Now, inflation is down as of March. And this is something he has always made mention to when it's double digit. I can also tell you, when he came in, the Minister of Finance, all the international financial agencies, they've left. Now, they've come back and they've supported us over $800 million. The same minister under his leadership, we've recruited 5,000 teachers, 4,000 health workers. We've also give increment salaries to teachers for 30%, 100% increment allowances for health workers. We are giving 25% as of April to people who work in the security sector. So we have been able to do all of this because we have somebody who is competent, who is knowledgeable, and who also understands the economy. And having said that, you can see there's always issue about bread and butter. So I'll take you back. When you went to, if we go to Nigeria, for instance, the price of rice, 50 kilo bags of rice in Nigeria in 2018, is different from now. So it means around the world, things have changed, things have moved. Do we have to do more as a government to make sure that the bread and butter improves? Of course, yes. But the fact of the matter is, what are we doing? The Munafa Fund. The Munafa Fund now is catering for thousands of people. What are we also doing now? They have also approved the Women's Empowerment Fund, 5 billion. We are now targeting women in border chiefdoms. Most of them, about 2,000, are going to benefit from that fund, Women Empowerment Fund. So the 500 billion we also launched for private sector. Now it's helping private sector to improve the economy. So this is the minister who has done extremely well. I cannot understand if Dixon says he has not done well. Just equally, anybody will say Dixon is just the worst editor.
So you've listened to the submission of Keketoma. I mean, the fact that Jacob Joseph Safar has performed, I mean, excellently so in the financial sector, and now he deserves a promotion, as the president determines. The chief minister has done pretty much in terms of coordinating the affairs of different ministries and ensuring that he manages the performance of those ministers, and now he deserves to go and be the face of I mean, the foreign affairs ministry.
Yeah, I think my brother is talking about Dixon instead of talking about the issues. The issues are there. He said that I did not speak to statistics. I talk about the MCC scorecards, which they are bragging about, that they passed the MCC. And one of the areas they failed woefully is the economy. And he's just mentioning just last month, just this month's report about last month, when we have a single-digit inflation on paper. And what is happening, you know, you don't cut off from reality. It's just like in 2012, when we are told on paper that we had that Sierra Leone has the best economy. It was on paper. It was not on the reality on the ground. Similarly, the single digit is talking about, it's on paper. Go to the market. You know, people who speak for government, they are paid to do it. And I can understand when my brother is speaking with passion. He's paid to do it, and heavily. So let me talk about, when I talk about nepotism in government, what this new direction said in page 56 of their new direction. From the highest to the lowest level of the leadership in the present APC government, there is abundant evidence of partisanship along regional and ethnic lines. Today is comparing Sierra Leone to America. It's comparing Sierra Leone, a multi-ethnic society, to the United States of America. Today is comparing Sierra Leone to developed Rwanda. Then you cannot compare Sierra Leone to developed Rwanda. He's talking about a chief minister who worked in Rwanda and a chief minister who did a report, a transitional report, replete with tribal rankings, regional rankings, puts the names of people and their ethnic group. Somebody who is a professor of peace. These are the building blocks for the current disunity we are seeing. These are the building blocks. He's talking about a chief minister who took a peace bill to parliament, ended up empowering the office that is no more in than the commission that should promote peace. He's telling us about a chief minister who organized a failed bid to money.
Why failed?
The leadership of the opposition was not there. It was unable to bring all parties together. It was unable to bring all parties together. Then you are telling me about that chief minister. He's telling me about a man who told us in 6 months he would transform the economy of Sierra Leone. The reality on the ground. Go to the market. Go, how much is dollar? Somebody who told us that if you want to, the same man told us if you want to see the economy, you don't need to go far. Go to the market. Go to the Kukriba fairs. That's what Jacob Joseph told us. And today they are telling us about book economy. He told us about street economy in the campaign. Let us look at the street economy. Forget about your digital whatever you are. It is not reflective on the ground. That is what I'm saying. But besides, I've given you a record. You did not mention that to him, the MCC, for which you failed in the economy, economic freedom. Go and check the MCC books of 2020, the scorecards. You will see that that's a perfect record for Sierra Leone. So what the government is doing, yes, they are doing. We are not going to sit here and say that they've not done anything, but we are pointing out the fact that most of their policies have not been reflective on the lives of the ordinary Israelis.
And what's responsible for that?
Well, I think it's because the president told us that he appoints people who are his cronies, people he knows, and he's telling me about America, United States of America, that is not multi-ethnic. Don't make that comparison on TV. This is a small nation. We've gone through 11 years war. We all saw how President Kaba turned around this nation with a cabinet that is reflective of the nation. You want a nation state, and if you want a nation state, it must be reflected on your governance. He accused me of being talking about I'm somebody who look at paper and I'm talking book and so on and so forth. But you are pointing out to figures. These are paper stuff and not reality stuff. Focus on the reality on the ground. Mark you on the campaign trail. You told Sierra Leoneans about food, that there was so much hunger in this country. Up till now, in fact, the hunger has quadrupled in Sierra Leone. Only those who are close to the system, only those who are close to power are benefiting. And you want Sierra Leoneans to be happy. And when the president is restructuring, in his word, restructuring, I don't see it as restructuring. I keep on emphasizing that is repositioning.
Let me quickly have Sally's bites on this. You mentioned earlier that yes, I also told Dixon that the president at Bitumani said, of course, this year is a year for accelerated service delivery, and so the changes will take place where necessary, just so he is able to get a team that would fulfill his desire for Sierra Leone. Remember, the campaign on effective and efficient management of the state and its resources. Where do you think this current cabinet reshuffle can come in, and what do you think it represents?
Well, for me, as I said earlier, I said the president has his prerogative to hire and fire. In the cabinet, we have ministers that are really working. If I can name, like female ministers, I know like the minister at Tourism and Culture, during the COVID, She ensures that the women and the people that are working in the hotels,
in the hospitality industry,
yeah, industry, they were paid. And also the Tibet project. Do you know about the Tibet project?
By the Ministry of Higher
Finance and Education.
Go ahead.
Sponsored by World Bank. Same for the empowerment of young girls and women. Because before, when our girls take this basic education exam and then take course, they drop out of schools. But bringing in the TVET, which at the end of the day, it was given to so many institutions for like life skills development training for young girls, young women, women with disability. It is all over. And now some of these girls and women are not engaged to use their skills. At the end of the day tomorrow, these women will not be left out. They can be able to feed their own children at home. This is another like development or empowering women and girls. And this is being done by this government from education. So Dix is saying, then when we talk about bread and butter issue, you see, sometimes I always say, you don't need to wait for government to do everything for you. Okay, there are people down there.
Those people at Abacha, they are waiting for government. Those at PZ, the boys at YZ, Belgium, they are performing.
Yes, you can come in. Yes, you can. You can.
They are going. Ends are not meeting. Things are different. It's not about me. Discuss the issue.
Okay.
Don't make Dixon at the center of the discussion. Discuss the government. You are better to doing that.
No, Dixon, hold on. Let's have a very decorous debate.
Go ahead.
You are giving your opinion on issues. For me to address those opinions, I have to address Dixon.
No, don't address
Because Dixon without your opinion, they are just the same.
No, don't address
I'll tell you, no, I'm coming.
Address the issues.
So, there are many issues you've raised. And I've told you, I keep saying it. It does not have fact, it does not have evidence.
So the MCC is not fact?
Hold on, Dixon. So let's go back.
Okay.
So, yes, we had the MCC score, okay?
And we failed in economy.
Dixon, when you were speaking, I did not interrupt. So
Let him have his bites.
Let's respect each other, please. So when we had the MCC score, of course, we would have loved to have performed more than the way we performed on the economy. But that is just one aspect of it. The Global Economic Freedom Index 2021, okay? We had almost 4-point percentage increase because we then became 150th freest economy, okay? That's also another report that tells you that we are doing well in the economy. But what we are saying is this. So he keeps talking about the populist things. Go to the markets, go to the...
populist things?
Hold on, Dixon. Go to the market, go to the cookie buffer. These are places people in government go to. People go to the market to buy food. That's what I was saying to Dixon. In Nigeria, I'll give you, so I speak with statistics and facts. In Nigeria, hold on, Dixon. In Nigeria, a bag of rice 2018 was 13,000 naira.
Per capita
No,
income of Nigeria.
Hold on, Dixon.
The
point I am making is,
what is the per capita
the point I am making is a price of bag.
Don't compare Sierra Leone and United States and Nigeria.
I'll give you time. Let him please put his case across.
Let us look at the per capita income.
If we only listen to each other,
yes,
without being rancorous and
we are not rancorous. I'm just
you have your chance.
It is acceptable.
Let me give you some facts. You don't have. Let me give you some facts. Let me give you some facts.
Yes.
In 2018,
give the people the facts.
A 50-kilogram bag of rice was 13,000 naira. That was almost like $33. Now it's almost like 28,000 naira. That's about $70. So what does that mean? It means
what is the per capita income of Nigeria?
Dixon, hold on.
And what is
all over the world?
What is it for Sierra Leone?
Prices.
Don't make that comparison.
All over the world, prices would have increased.
Don't make that comparison.
Undoubtedly, all over the world. Now, the question for every government...
What is the income of
the question for every government is what are you doing to make sure you ameliorate sufferings of the ordinary people? So there are two things you can do. Which are? Firstly, you can ensure that people have income, disposable income increase in their hands. So for instance, teachers, we've increased their salaries, okay, by 30%, okay? Health workers, we've given 100% increment on their allowances. People in the security sector, what have we done? 25% increase in their salary starting from April. I give you a simple example. So pensioners who used to have 25,000 loans, now they're having 250,000 loans, okay? That is also making sure that they have disposable income at an increased rate for them to spend. But it does not only stop that. Free quality education. Now, government has invested billions in it. So which basically means, if, for instance, you have a parent who have 3 kids, and then they were paying, let's say, for instance, 500,000 loans per kid. You have 3 kids. Now, because of the free quality education, you are saving 1.5 million. What does that mean? It means you as a parent, you'll be able to spend that on other needs of the family. That is how you reduce poverty. Because you get poor measures that you're putting in place. During the COVID, what did we do? We made sure that we gave financial incentive and monies to people who were, for instance, people with disability, people who worked in the tourism sector, because government cared because of their social protection. So those are measures that we are putting in place. Of course, in 3 years, we do not expect our country to be like the Great Britain in the USA, because it took centuries for them to be where they are. But the question is, are we doing much as a government to make sure that we address some of those challenges? Of course we are doing. So for me to sit here and Dixon keep talking about, oh, go to the market, we go to the market. We know the prices. And that is why this is the same Dixon. Normally, it comes on TV and radio, make references to inflation rate. Now he's ashamed because now he's on single digits. Okay, but you cannot speak from both sides of your mouth. When it used to be double digits, you used to make reference. It was never on paper. Now it's on paper. Okay, so what we are saying, we have to be sincere to our country. What we are saying, there are challenges. Those challenges, we are addressing them. But like my advice to always to Dixon, when you come with the facts. Come with evidence. Come with evidence. We've addressed that one. Come with evidence.
I have given you the facts.
Even the office of chief minister, you made mention that the opposition did not attend. That's the fault of the chief minister. That is preposterous. Oh. It does not make any sense to anybody. Okay. Because who would force the APC to go to a conference? Nobody. Because that is nonsense. It does not make any sense. It does not make any sense. It's nonsense.
You know that somebody who is a peace expert is speaking.
When you give an invitation,
if you have a transition report that is
to somebody and tribal attend, who forced the person to go? That is nonsense. It does not make any sense.
Transition report that is replicated because
it does not make any sense.
APC mentioned the GTT report as the reason
for not attending.
But that is not a basis.
And that's SEC report. And that GTT report.
But that is the thing I'm saying.
That GTT report was supervised by the supervisor who has been demoted.
But that is the thing.
According to cabinet rank.
But Dixon, this is what I'm saying.
That man did a GTT report that is replete with tribal partisan statements. In fact, he even came out with judgments that these are criminal racketeers.
Dixon.
Blah, 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 blah.
Dixon.
How could they attend the peace meeting? That GTT report break the peace and national cohesion meeting.
So find a
that is where that is the building block for the current disunity in this country.
Samuel,
okay,
so
go ahead.
So find a justification for the APC on TV by Dixon. It's preposterous.
Am I finding a justification for APC? It's what the APC referred to in their press release.
But that is what you are making.
The records are there.
But that is what you are
making.
making.
And we read the GTT report.
You don't need to shout.
No, but we are not shouting.
But you are shouting.
I'm pointing out to you facts.
No.
We read the GTT report, and the GTT report was tribal.
Okay. The
GTT report was partisan.
Okay, so the
statement of the chief minister was judgmental.
It's complete nonsense.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, listen, Samuel. The fact of the matter is this: if I give you an invitation, okay, I invite you to a conference. Whether you choose to come or not has nothing to do with me, because it's a personal decision you have to make based on what your party believes in. So for him to come and accuse chief minister of saying APC did not attend to money, it's complete nonsense. But let's go beyond that.
It's like saying
let's go beyond that. He also made mention.
Failed to bring the
he also made mention of people who
If you want peace, you bring the other party on the table.
He said, made mention of chronism.
Yes.
Like I said to Dixon, the problem with Dixon is it does not have the facts and the evidence.
The president.
Okay, let him justify. Let him justify. Let him justify.
The president is the fact.
Hold on.
He talked about chronism and nepotism.
I gave you an evidence.
You talked about America, United States of America.
Because
ours is a multi-ethnic society.
Dixon, listen. In our government.
Are you comparing the democracy of the United States to that of Sierra Leone?
No. The point
that is what you are doing.
The point I am making, listen. So listen.
You cannot compare the two.
Listen, if you listen
that
to
is
me.
Oil and water.
No,
okay, go ahead.
No, I'm telling you the fact. That is oil and water.
No, stop shouting.
I'm not shouting. I'm pointing out the fact.
No,
okay, let him make your submission.
If you listen,
I'm pointing out the fact.
Let him make it.
Comparing Sierra Leone to United States of America is oil and water.
No, let him make his submission.
In democracy and anything.
Dixon.
Listen, you
Thomas Dixon. Let him make his submission. I'll give you time.
Appointing people from one side of the country.
Let him make his submission.
And the president who said on TV,
I'll give you your
that he
time.
appoints people whom he knows.
You would have your time to make your submission.
Shouting.
Go ahead.
Shouting.
No, I'm not shouting.
Hold on.
I'm not shouting. I'm pointing the facts.
No, let's speak through Samuel.
I'm putting the cards on the table.
Let's speak through Samuel.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you don't have to dictate in this program.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is not the president at all.
Go ahead.
Let us speak.
Thomas Dixon.
I am speaking.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
If I knew, because let me tell you,
Go ahead.
The whole point why we're here is for people at home to listen, understand, and make their judgment.
Agreed. Go ahead.
Shouting on each other is very rude.
No, we are not shouting.
Okay?
We are not shouting.
So,
I'm pointing the fact to you.
Okay, let him, please.
I'm pointing
Thomas
the fact.
Dixon,
You have your time.
please let him.
He said,
I know you will have your time.
Statements that are not correct.
I'll give you your time to respond to them.
No, but when you have your chance,
You will
When you
respond.
have your chance,
Illogical comparison.
when
You
have
will
your chance,
respond. You will respond, please.
When you have your chance,
Go
you
ahead.
speak.
Go ahead, Keketoma. Go ahead.
So, be decorous. When you have chance, you speak. So you have two things. Firstly,
This is not the court.
he made.
This is not the court.
He made.
This is
Thomas
You
Dixon,
just tell him to
please.
just keep.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He made the most preposterous statement by saying,
according to you in your
we
opinion.
appoint people from one side of the country. It's
Right.
complete nonsense.
Okay.
Complete nonsense.
Sierra
The deputy minister of basic education, she's from Botlogga, from the north. Okay. The resident minister northwest, from the north. Okay. Alpha Timbo, Minister of Labour, from the north. Okay. I'll give you Manti Tarawali, the Minister of Gender, Children's Affairs, from the north. I'll give you a replica of names from the north. So
And then
to
you call
say,
the one from the other side.
to say
You
we
see
appoint
the
people
illogical
from one side of the country is nonsense. So I make mention to America for one simple reason.
Right.
Because when any president comes to power, he appoints people, you have a track record that you've worked with. That's what the president said. So what I made mention of was to justify that with the USA. In America, when President Biden took place, his appointment that he made his cabinet, many of those people, he worked with them under President Obama. It was as simple as that. Whether it was a multi-ethnic or otherwise, or political chronism, that is here, not there. The fact of the matter is, you appoint people you have a track record of. So I made mention to the Secretary of State in the USA, Anthony Blinken. This was somebody.
I hope you compare
President Biden worked
in
with
terms of electricity,
under
good roads,
Obama.
and also
I also made mention.
hospital.
If you have your time,
with America in terms of
you have your time. Let the public listen.
Good electricity.
Shouting does not win.
Gentlemen.
Janet,
Go ahead.
Secretary of State for the Treasury. This was the federal chair under President Obama. Biden worked with her under Obama. When Biden took office, he appointed her as Secretary of State for Treasury. So there are replica of evidence and things all over the world, across the country. Now, what are we saying? We live in a country where, so for instance, I come back to Sally. Sally was making the case for women. Of course, it's a work in progress. But even as I speak to you here, to almost 21% of people in our cabinet are women. The benchmark was meant to be 30%. It's 9% more. Of course, we are striving towards to achieve that. But even as we do so, we are also making sure we are empowering women. I made mention of the Women's Empowerment Fund. 5 billion is now being approved by the government to support women in border communities around the country. I also made mention for the very first time, the president has launched the Gender Equality and Empowerment Policy for the very first time. It tells you we are taking actions. That is why when my good friend Dixon said, go to the market, go to these places, yes, there are challenges. There are challenges with the prices, but of course. But that is why in March, when the Office of National Statistics, they pull the inflation rate, 8.95%, we should all be very commendant of what we've done. Are there things we can do more to make sure that the prices of basic commodities come down? Of course. Are there things to make sure that, for instance, I said to you, to give people disposable incomes so they can have more money to spend? That is why we are doing the salary increases. That is why we do the free quality education, to give parents more money to spend. Okay? There are challenges. For 3 years, this country is not going to be United States of America. It's not going to be any European country. Because we are taking action to make sure we move towards
let me ask you this question. Now, these
that joins the team would come to the team with that belief, that sense of urgency, that sense of determination to deliver. And like I've always said, Dixon, nobody would want to come to power or have a ministry and that person will just sit without performance. Okay? That is why we have the performance management. Because what it does is we go back. So for instance, that's like our manifesto pledges that we made, manifesto commitments. As I speak to you now, the same office of the chief minister, we've evaluated
get something where the honor you. Now this week on Sierra Leone. Well, Aliu and Justin they give you the chance for make you blow your mind. Now the program called We Are
for blow your mind. The truth you get for say, and it no matter what truth you get for say. Try save the future. The truth you get for say, and it no matter what truth you get for say. Talk now we are. Talk about the things gone wrong. Talk about the things where they make salon or they grow. Talk about political violence. Talk about regional politics. Now we are.
That joins the team would come to the team with that belief, that sense of urgency, that sense of determination to deliver. And like I've always said, Dixon, nobody would want to come to power or have a ministry and that person will just sit without performance. Okay? That is why we have the performance management. Because what it does is we go back. So for instance, like our manifesto pledges that we made, manifesto commitments. As I speak to you now, the same office of the chief minister, we've evaluated what government has done over the 3 years period, midterm. And we've realized that 28% out of 38%, we've achieved them. Okay? Let's come to even agriculture, because it's important. So when the president said to you, we're going to diversify the economy, because he believes in it. Yes, for now, we are not massively exporting rice, but we are taking measures. So for instance, in Rombe, we are now doing a project of 54 million to do rice production. Tomabom, almost more than 60 million we've invested in Tomabom for rice production. Okay? We are also doing onion production. So government is taking steps. Quite a few months ago, what did we do? Government invested $18 million in tractors and equipment and implements. So for instance, we have about over 400 tractors and over 2,000 implements across the country for the 2021 planting season. Those are facts they cannot change. Would that going to change overnight for us to produce more rice? Of course, no. But what we have done is to make sure that at every time, government is taking concrete actions for rice production, for onions production, because we believe that agriculture is the bedrock for our development. Education is the bedrock. On healthcare, we are also investing the same. So for instance, when we came, 2017, the budgetary allocation was 7%. Now we've increased it to 11%. Take comparison around the world. Not all countries do that. Education, 22% of our budget under this government. So that's what we are saying. So most of what my friend is saying, Dixon, there are challenges. As a government, we understand that. We understand that. But for you to come on TV and say government has not scored anything, it's preposterous. It's not right.
Just before I bring in our viewers, Dixie, let me ask you this question. Now, the ticket that brought in this government to power is the SLPP. And this government has a 5-year mandate to deliver outside the SLPP. Now, when they come in there, it's no longer SLPP. So do you still feel that these players now playing are just trying to secure position, I mean, when they will come back 2023?
I'm telling you for fact, my brother, we know how governance is run in this part of the world. That after 3 years, it's all politics. After 3 years, we saw the president moving around TV station, radio station, talking politics. Said he's talking about what he has done 3 years. I'm happy that my brother here is now accepting that there are challenges. The challenges are huge. The challenges are huge. Electricity, education, water. The challenges are, that is why you don't make a logical comparison with the United States of America. Because if you want to begin to compare appointments, people will begin to ask you, can you compare Sierra Leone and United States of America when it comes to good roads? You cannot. You cannot sustain that argument. So let us not compare it. Coming to facts, the MCC scorecard in my hand. Fiscal policy, we failed about 4% economic freedom he's talking about. Into the same scorecard, this government is jubilating about that they've been given some form of highlights that they would do. They are now
the compact.
Position of the compact. This is the same MCC scorecard that failed this government, Jacob Josusafa's ministry, on economic freedom and fiscal policy, 4%. And my brother here is telling me that I should not mention it. I should not mention the fact that he's now telling that, he's now saying that things that are affecting the people, the little things, are populism. The same little things that we are talking about 3 years ago, food in the market, is saying that they are populism. The people are listening. They are out there. We used to tell our colleagues the last time that the people are listening, they are out there. Now you are saying that they are populism. It is populism. Rice is populism. The cost of rice is populism. It's not. You are now comparing Sierra Leone, the cost of rice in Nigeria, the earning power of the average Nigerian. It's not the same as the average Sierra Leonean. The GDP per capita of Nigeria, it's not the same as Sierra Leone. So you don't make that illogical comparison. So let us, when we are making comparison, let us be careful. Let us make like for like.
Do you not
like
agree?
for like.
Do you not agree?
And Liberia and Guinea.
Just quickly, I'll let you
like
in.
For like.
I'll let you in.
Don't compare Sierra Leone and the United States.
Quick, Dixon.
You were talking
Dixon.
about the
Thomas Dixon.
No.
Thomas Dixon.
Allow me.
Thomas Dixon.
Allow me now.
Do you not think?
Allow me to flex. Allow me to flex.
Thomas Dixon. Do you not think now that the system has done things very well?
Look at other preposterous
Which is?
thing, the absurd thing. That the office of the chief minister has said that they've achieved 28% of 38. Where did the people who judge? That is just book. It's what they have written in their pamphlet.
So
the Sierra Leoneans who are feeling the pinch, they will judge.
What are the things this government has done that you think are positive? That
I have always said that.
Yes.
In terms of free education, they've done better. We are seeing it. 21% of the budget. But what is in the manifesto? They talked about building 500 classrooms across the country. Allow me, Madam Sandi. I don't want my brother to start saying that we should treat the studio with
Go ahead.
Like they do in the court.
Go ahead, Thomas Dixon.
They told us that they are going to construct science centers, science and innovation centers across the country. In all districts, it's in the manifesto. We are yet to see one science center. One science center we are yet to see. Even the schools that we know, the Prince of Wales, in Moraldo, in Lusag, that we know we are powerful in sciences, they are under-equipped. They told us about constructing libraries across the country. Yes, they've done one or two, but more need to be done. They even promise uniforms and shoes for pupils. 3 years we are yet to see. And the president was right on Bitumani, on the town hall meeting, when he said that we don't need to crawl, we have to jump if we want to catch up. Indeed, we have to jump. That is why on the free quality education, I don't want excuse. Because even if the president was talking on that day that there should be no excuses.
All right.
And he's talking about 500 teachers. 5,000 teachers. Sally, you're a teacher. Sally is a teacher. I know of thousands of teachers who are yet to be paid. Teachers in Kenema recently protested. On social media, the video was all over the place. Some of them were not paid for 2 years. They have to be paid. It's not because your name is in the payroll. There are teachers who are yet to be paid, and they are telling me about 5,000. They are nurses. They've said, oh, your name, you are going through you've been in the process for 2 years?
All right.
You've been in the process for 2 years?
Let me allow you. I know you want to. Okay, come in quickly because I need to take a few messages.
It's unfortunate my brother does not understand what populism means.
Okay.
So you know when we sit on national TV,
I do not understand. Okay.
It's not the amount of shouts we shout.
Okay,
sir. To understand.
Okay.
For you to say people are listening.
Okay.
We are confident that in 5 years, when we get to elections, we have a message, we have a president who is sincere,
free education,
and we have something to tell to the people. And we are confident that the people will give us another chance. So it is not about how much you gesticulate on TV. We talk about facts.
We are told similar things.
Okay. If you just be decorous and listen to me, I'll appreciate.
This is not the courtroom.
So like I said, okay,
I have to interject.
even when the president went out, he said everything is a work in progress. 3 years.
3 years.
Okay? 3 years.
No
in 3 years, you don't expect for this country to be a miracle. Even in the UK, there is poverty. I live in the UK, there is poverty. In the US, there is poverty.
I'm saying that there is no poverty.
In the UK, people sleep in the streets.
We are not saying that.
Okay, there is hunger, there is everything. So we have to contextualize. So Dixon, if you just respect the decorum, it will be nice.
Go ahead.
Yes, please. Now let's respect each other. So when you say,
okay, gentlemen, relax.
Go ahead. So when you say people are listening, that is why I'm here, for people to listen. The unfortunate thing is, because it's so rancorous, people are not understanding the message. So if we listen to each other, people get the facts. People get the facts.
Thomas Dixon, gentlemen, please.
People get the facts. When election comes, they can make up their mind. Because this is democracy. Dixon only has 1 vote. So all this issue is gesticulating. It's preposterous. He has 1 vote like every other person. So people will listen and make their mind.
You are here defending the privileged few.
Like I've said.
I am here talking for the people.
So like I said, like the president said, it's a work in progress. It spoke about teachers. Of course, there will be teachers who will be affected. Before we came in, there were teachers without PIN codes. Some of them were given PIN codes. There were health workers without PIN codes. Some of them were given PIN codes. Are there others who still have challenges? Of course, yes, there are challenges. But that is why we have a government which is compassionate to understand these issues, to listen to people. Okay? That because we believe we are servants of the people. We were elected to deliver on behalf of the people. So all those challenges, they will not be addressed overnight.
Now the people are not
it takes 5 years, and then we'll go back to the people, okay? So ministers, people in parastatals, they go to markets. Okay? Some of them, they go to places where ordinary people are. We all do. We all do the same. Okay? We do shopping. We do the same. So it tells you that to think that you live in this parallel universe where these people are in Mars or Jupiter, they don't understand ordinary things, it's preposterous. Because most of them, before they were ministers, they were ordinary people. It's just because circumstances have changed. So they understand. So when each minister sits in his office and think about policy, whether it's about health service, whether it's about making sure that the ambulance service, people get them across the country, they have service to that. Whether it's making sure that peripheral health services, they're operational. We've renovated or built 54 across the country. Because people care about ordinary people. Because we're human beings, we are self-reliance first before we came to government. So the point I am making is simply this, that you have a government which has got a track record. We have delivered on many things. There are challenges on some of those things. We are addressing some of those things. But I'm confident by the time we get to elections, engaging ordinary people, engaging the people, we are confident that we have a message, we have achievements, we have things to tell them for them to be convinced that we are a serious government, we have a sincere leader, and we have honest leadership who will take the country for the next 5 years. And we are confident in that.
All right, let's bring in our viewers. And we have almost 1,000 active participants right now on this show. Very interesting. Amara Alpha, time will only permit us to take few messages, I'm afraid. Amara Alpha is saying, it is only the president who has the prerogative to hire and fire without question. And President Bio always does things in the interest of Sierra Leoneans. Patrick Wu is saying, at work, if you do not perform, you get managed out. Alimami Conte is saying, Chief Minister was demoted because of his thirst to become president from Kenema Republic. Interesting. This is interesting. JJ Safa is now the head of the kitchen and the pantry. Yankuba Kobe saying, I believe it is the president's right to hire and fire, so let's give him his rights, please. The recent cabinet reshuffle by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, is a wake-up call for each and every appointee to work hard in order to achieve the goals of the new direction government. I say it makes no sense. Okay, no, I'm not going to be taking any messages that are not in line with the conversation, and I perceive to be disrespectful, and will not go through them. I heard that the paramount chiefs of Kenema are coming with a letter of protest for the sack. Okay, Madam, let me ask you a question. If someone was appointed to be a minister by the president and that individual was sacked by the president who appointed the said person, is it a problem that the person shouldn't be sacked, yes or no? That's for Nabila Tunis. Don't respond now. Don't respond now. Show results in your positions and you'll be safe. The next finance minister is going to be a female, 100%. So you should be celebrated. I mean, that's like when we were going to school, we have leakage. And what I say, it's about this. It's about time Sierra Leone must adopt the Magufuli approach. Period. Get rid of incompetent leaders. And okay, that's too harsh. I'm not going to. So we're not preaching tribalism, please. And if you continue to preach that, we'll have to take that. I know again. The issue of messaging is very, but you can say the same thing in a different format, please. Yeah. What has the office of Chief Minister benefit the people of Sierra Leone? Dixon, stop. Okay, I'm not going through that. We all know that our ministers are not performing their responsibility accurately. I think some of them need to be sacked because of failure to deliver. Our people are still suffering, and our politicians need to work for us. If they don't work, they should be sacked. We move. Swissman is saying, Dixon, what does it take to do a presidential reshuffling by the president? That's a constitutional benefit, rights of the president. Do you know the number of people going jobless in Europe and USA? Michael Larry Lume is saying, your frontline defenders against a rogue government in is this, no, that's, I'm not going, Mr. Dixon, if you're saying their president is giving a lip service to women empowerment, but knowing fully well that that position was given to a woman to prove herself and she couldn't meet the threshold of delivering to the expectations of His Excellency. Women's empowerment doesn't mean people putting women in positions just for the sake of giving them jobs, but those that can best deliver. Michael M. Momo is saying, Ronald Georgetown is saying, women don't need tokenistic positions but should be given on merits. Sierra Leoneans should know that we have a chauvinistic system since time memorial. The only people that can free themselves from the system are the women who make the numbers when it comes to the vote. But are they ready? That's the question. Kotia Putia with no performance, how we expect our country to develop. Kobe Conte is saying, poverty is an accumulation of factors that have been there for ages, cannot be achieved in 3 years. Michael Larry Lume. Does anyone think APC did better during their 11 years rule? Why do people expect this government to fix everything that the APC broke in 11 years to be fixed in 3 years? Tim Lepikin is saying, the educated people destroy our country. Big up to illiteracy. We still survive. Decide. Madam, what are you talking about competency when there are a lot of competent Sierra Leonean in the country? Ambassador Mike Joseph Kanu, Basulemani say, honestly speaking, the president has failed by looking at this. I wonder what development we are going to achieve. Swissman is saying, Madam, you don't need to feel any pain if the Minister of Foreign Affairs was sacked because the individual was appointed to work for the people. She didn't. She was not supposed to relax in a position because she's a minister with that. So I also want you to know that no condition is permanent in politics. Mr. Dixon, note that women's empowerment does not mean giving women positions, but those that can best perform the expectations of the president and the people. The ministers should be really strong, tough, and can do and have the attitude to do things. Service delivery should start top, bottom, and directors in these departments should be of a competent candidate. Interesting. Patrick Uri. Confused nation. The same folks that are crying out to many positions in cabinet are the same folks saying again he shouldn't hold 2 positions. Bakish K. Bendo. This president, Ronald Abubangra, is saying, where is the no more yellow card the president was talking about? Lambisa is saying, wouldn't expect anything less from the sad excuse for. How can people support and vote for? Okay, that's generalization. I will not end. Honestly, the government needs great HR team to source out individuals that can actually do their job to the best of their abilities and knowledge. Particularly is saying, I'm going to take 5 more messages. I'm afraid we have hundreds of them, but time will definitely not permit us to go through all of them. Dixon, are you saying those who are there are not competent enough? Samuel Kesebe is asking, if you cannot fix something broken in the past 11 years, how would you expect it to be fixed in 3 years? Michael Larry. 3 more messages to go. 3 more messages. Jojo Safa once promised that he can turn around the economy in 6 months, but later said on radio that it takes time to do such. Please, Papa President, maintain him in the Ministry of Finance until he completes his mission of turning the economy around. Abu Konte is saying, Keke, my problem is that all what you're saying is not new. You've been saying this over and over and all, and it's the same thing. We know it's a process, and we keep trusting the process. Ronald Georgetown is saying, indeed, Mr. Dixon, the reshuffle doesn't reflect the country's demographic structure. However, it is what it is, and that's what the electorate voted for. Can this cabinet do more for the nation before 2023? The jury is out there. The chief breakdancer minister who lives the peace in England and brought the conflict of corruption in Sierra Leone and okay. The last message I'll take is saying, in the year 2020, President Bio told Sierra Leoneans to judge the new direction government based on the People's Manifesto that was used during the 2018 general elections, and he wants that one to be reflected before 2023. Time would definitely not permit us to go through all of this, but thank you for your comments, and Those are the ones who can only take. Madam Sally, let me allow you to respond to some. Somebody was asking about whether you think, well, because you're a woman or because you're women, you should just be given position. And tokenistic positions is something that people who are even advocating for women are saying, no, this is not what we need. We need, people should be given positions based on merits. And they should not be complimented.
I said it. I said, when giving positions to women, do these women have the qualification? Do they have the skills? Do they have the knowledge to perform their roles? I asked that question. Then I said, earlier on again, I said, if women are given positions and they cannot perform, they should be fired. Because I know, like somebody go for a job, you went to interview, you are given the job. If you cannot perform, they fire you. Just like giving positions to people, to be ministers. If a minister cannot perform, and I know they will not just sack somebody or remove somebody from his position if she did well. No, maybe the expectations that they were looking for, the person did not meet the expectations, so he should be fired. That's what I said.
Okay.
And we are not fighting for just to give women empowerment or to give them a job if they cannot perform. No, we want quality women there.
And how hard are you pushing for that to happen?
We are still pushing for our 30% because, you know, gender empowerment is the president spoke about it, that he has passion for that and he's committed with his government. And then we are seeing things unfolding on the empowerment of women and girls in Sierra Leone.
Thomas Dixon?
Yeah, I think on the aspect of women, somebody asked that they should not be given tokenized position, but merited position. I think that is what we said when the program started, that there are a lot of competent women. What Ms. Adams was saying is that if you are dismissing a woman in a very senior cabinet position, there are a lot of other competent women that could replace her, instead of appointing a man who has not performed in his role as chief minister. So that is why, that is what we are saying. We've lost two prominent women in two very senior cabinet positions in this government. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice. A woman was there. She lost her job, replaced by a man. We've seen the same for foreigners. It's becoming a pattern.
But so they were appointed in positions that were held by men too.
Yeah, well then we have to ensure that we do not pay lip service to women's empowerment. We have to ensure that when we say we want to empower women, we empower them fully.
Somebody was telling me the other day about women's empowerment that when this government took over, the president appointed some women to serve in positions, but those women chose not to, and the former president for 50-50 confirmed that in one of my AYVN Sunday shows, Dr. Fatou Taki.
Well, the people who people who want to work in a government that they will trust. They work in a government that they think they will deliver for the people. You will not want to work in a government and then the government is not delivering. And in fact, we are even having information that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs resigned. I don't know how true is it. Thank God the press secretary is here. She resigned before the sacking. I think it was all over on social media. But now look at some of the issues my brother was talking about. He keeps on mentioning about first. We are the first government to do this. We are the first government to do this. We are the first government to do this. We are also the first government. They are also the first government to have a very expanded budget, expanded wage bill. Very expanded wage bill. They condemned wage bill, and that is why I said the Minister of Finance did not perform. They told us that they are going to manage the wage bill, that they are going to even reduce the wage bill. But we've seen that the wage bill has gone up, to the point that it's not that they are not doing well in terms of revenue generation, but government expenditure is so huge.
And the president attributed that to the recruitment of more teachers, nurses.
That is what about the frequent fast traveling? What about the frequent fast traveling? $3 million. You saw documentary evidence all over the place. People spending money on furniture. People spending money, spending money on provision. Huge amount of money. It's like one particular office spending money every month on furniture. Every month on furniture. It's so huge. And apart from the frequent fast traveling, we've had more offices. You look at office, let's take for instance the Ministry of Information and Communication. They used to have 2 government, apart from the minister and the deputy minister, 2 government spokespeople. So then you have about 7, 8 of them. And they are paid huge amount of money. There are other ministries that you have 2 ministers now in agriculture. There are a lot of jobs that have been created for the boys. That is why the president himself gave credence to the fact that he appoints people he knows. There are a lot of people he has to compensate. So for me, I think this particular, I refuse to say it's a restructure. I keep on saying that it's repositioning for 2023.
Okay.
So let me take the issues in turn. First, to the issue about the women. President is committed. The president is serious about it. And like I said, and somebody said, oh, Keke, you keep repeating the same thing. It's because for us as a government, people have to understand where we came from, where we are, and where we're going. And you would not have this information without knowing the context, okay? When we came, the aspiration for every government is 30% to have women in governance, okay? We are 21%. As I speak to, even with the reshuffle now, as I speak to you, because what actually happened was the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, when she was set aside, we had Dr. Teresa Tenedik who also came in. So we are 21%, okay, as a government, as a cabinet. But women's empowerment and participation in governance goes beyond just appointment. So I liked when you said the issue about that conversation with the 50-50 person, that I know from a fact there have been women who have been spoken to be appointed for whatever reason, personal reason or otherwise. They have said they don't want to at this point in time. And then my friend Dixon is saying, well, people want to work in a government that they trust. That's almost like speaking from 2 sides of your mouth, because at the end of the day, if you want us to have women or people from different sides of our country, people should also be willing that if obviously you are being approached, be consulted, you have to come and work. So you can't blame the government that the government is not having more women or more people from other places. And when those people have been approached, they can't work because in Dixon's own estimation, people don't trust. But having said that, what we are doing is just to make sure that, so he spoke about wage bill. He spoke about Ministry of Information, for instance. Let me just remind him that you had the attitudinal and behavioral unit. That was what was scrapped when the Stratcom guys came in. So like I said to him, we have the facts. It's not just about making those claims. When you make those claims, you back it with the fact. So these people only came in because government took a deliberate decision when we came in, because you had this attitudinal and behavioral change unit in Ministry of Information, which was scrapped. So they were replaced by Stratcom guys. But I also did say to Dixon, when I started, that even the same chief minister, which he keep pounding on, when he took up, we had to let go about slightly over 100 people, which saved 15 billion leones.
100 people where?
At the office of the chief of staff. Because remember, you had the office of the chief of staff, which obviously the chief minister inherited. So when he came, that was the first thing he did. To save government almost $2 million, okay? Now, I am happy that you made the point to Dixon that when you recruit more teachers, when you recruit more nurses, more health workers, the wage increase will go. Dixon, I will also make a point to you, even with the travel. When we came, the international financial institutions, they've all left. Government and the president had to re-engage these people. And as I speak to you now, even with whatever we've traveled with, we've also had a net gain as a country. Because now we have about $865.4 million, which you have received from these donor partners, okay? And 61% of them, it's in grant. It simply means this is money they're giving us free. because they see a government which is competent, a government which is fiscally prudent. So there are challenges, but this is the same people who left and abandoned our country.
The president also talked about
they abandoned our country before they left. Okay, before we came.
They gave it to other countries.
So the point I'm making,
it's not that you're exceptional.
They gave to other countries, but by then when we took office, they had left our country. So that is why even revenue generation. 3 years when APC was in office, they only barely made about 40%. When we came, we have increased it about over 60%.
That's what will give you. That's what will give you. There is a professional there.
The point I keep making is this. Okay?
That's what will give you.
Even President said there are challenges. We would want to wake up in the morning like President said had been to money. For us, our health service to be like National Health Service in the UK. Okay? But we don't have the funding. We don't have the resources. We don't have the things for that to work. So what do? We continue to invest in making sure. So for instance, Keketoma, okay? Government, we've engaged partners, and now we are having 150-bed facility, which is going to provide a lot of facilities for people there. Because it tells you we are taking concrete actions, whether in terms of policies, in terms of actions, in terms of also initiatives you are using as a government, okay? So, as a country, we believe that it's a work in progress, okay? No country, I did say this, no country. President Kagame in Rwanda, he has taken 20 years in office. No country is going to turn around the country in 3 years' time. But you should be confident and assured that if 3 years on, we have been able to pass the MCC, corruption, we are doing extremely well, okay? We have been able to manage it. And in terms of revenue mobilization, we are doing extremely well. Managing the economy, inflation rate, we've dropped to single digit. And I keep saying this because those are the same figures which you always make reference to, okay? Until they change, that was what President promised. So single digit, and we have achieved it.
On paper.
Okay? So whether it's on paper or not, we are working to make sure that people have disposable incomes. And that is why we are doing salary increases for people. And that is why we are making sure we are having policies and programs in place to give people incentives. During the COVID, people in the tourism sector, we distributed some amount of allowances and money to them to make sure that they don't have the harshness of the COVID, okay? We're a compassionate government. So all I say to my friend Dixon is simply this, that there are challenges. The president said we recognize that, but we are taking actions and concrete steps to address those challenges. Okay?
Madam Sally, if you are to engage government at this point, especially with regards giving more positions to women to ensure that government reaches that peak, that baseline you've set to be amongst, decision makers in this country. What would your ideas be around?
The government?
Yes.
About women?
Yes.
To be given leadership positions?
Yes.
Like for example, if we talk about politics,
yeah,
the political parties don't give winning seats to women. So actually, I think PPRC, they try to talk to the political parties so that they can be able to reserve safe seats for women in local elections or in parliamentary elections. Because actually, if these women are not given those spaces, they can go in for election and they will not win. And mind you, women are not economically strong. Men have money more than these women. And sometimes a woman can say, I will not vote, unable to become a woman because this way can't lead me, something like that.
Change for me.
It will change for me.
Begin cack for me.
So, because women are not economically strong, I would just say to the government that they should try to empower women that want to take up leadership positions. They can empower them through other revenues. Like you have women in the rural areas, they are not more educated, but they want to take positions in leadership like for the city council, local councils, but they don't have money. So how can they be empowered? So by giving them these soft loans from the banks, but of course the banks don't, I don't know why they don't give women loans from the banks. Maybe they're afraid of women, maybe they think if they give women, We feed their children with the money.
You add the umbrella body for women. Let's go back to something very critical that you've just raised. The issue of engaging political parties to ensuring that they are able, within their internal structure, give women the opportunity to, to more political power, whether safe seats, in constituencies or wards. How much have you been able to push that through within these political parties, especially the SLPP and the APC?
Yeah, and for Women's Forum, I think the Women's Forum is the umbrella body, and then we have served for 27 years. We have done so many things concerning leadership trainings. For example, during the past election, 2018, we did 24-hour campaign school where we do train women leaders that wanted to vie for positions. But that funding was got from UNDP. As an umbrella body, we have so many constraints because we are not getting funding from the government unless from donor partners. And sometimes now, we are in a challenging world where we have so many groups
competing for the same scarce resources.
Yeah, resources. But when it comes to in terms of like problems on women's issue, they call Women's Forum to spearhead. Like for example, when this thing happened, the guy that was being brutal by the police, the IPAM lady. So we are called upon to take up that issue. But unfortunately, because Women's Forum for now, we don't have funding, it's like we are a little bit slowing down.
Would have to create a platform where you come and advocate for funds for Women's Forum.
Yeah, but listen,
yes, quickly.
We are the umbrella.
Yes.
We link with the Ministry of Gender.
Right.
And some of these things, when it happens, the first call is Women's Forum.
Yeah, I understand
so
that.
how can we even help?
When you don't have money.
When you don't have money.
Okay.
So, but before the Jakaban regime, we have been giving subventions from the government.
Okay.
So when the other governments came, they stop it.
And there is another government. Have you engaged them?
Well,
or you're in the process of engaging them?
Yeah.
Okay, Thomas Dixon.
Yeah, I think when my brother was around the north, he talked about they're doing well in corruption. Yes, I think they are doing well in corruption in terms of investigating past corruption. Now, if they want to talk about investigate the office of the First Lady, they will tell us that we have to go to 1996 and start investigating. So the point that they are making, former American ambassador, was on air and on this TV saying that this government should begin to look at corruption inwardly. And I think if they want the people of Sierra Leone to take them seriously, they should begin to look at corruption inwardly. They should not be defensive about corruption as we've seen lately. They've been defensive, very, very defensive. When it comes to allegations of the First Lady spending Sierra Leonean money on things that are not proper, they've been very defensive instead of investigating. Even when Sierra Leoneans are asking questions with regard to how much is spent on the recent independence anniversary celebration, they've been very taciturn instead of explaining to the people of this country. But later, when things begin to unfold, they'll begin to be defensive. When a colleague was investigating a story, by not even writing the story, just by calling the chief minister, the sacked chief, demoted chief minister, that, look, we are investigating $1.6 million. We want the answer to those allegations. He was arrested, dragged to the police station like a terrorist. And the anti-corruption commissioner, instead of investigating, was on here defending. So this is the point. And recently, I think it was on your Tuesday program, the anti-corruption commissioner was defending and even deflecting responsibility to the opposition. Oh, the opposition wants to use the anti-corruption as a political weapon. How can an anti-corruption commissioner sit on here saying that the opposition wants to use them? But when it was time to investigate people in the opposition, they arrested them, incarcerated some of them. There is an audit report to be investigated. You see what is happening in Malawi. You see what is happening there, the Malawian president. People, heads are rolling. Here, when COVID audit came out, no, the anti-corruption was very defensive. To the point that they had issue with the audit service, We've seen recently where they have even suppressed the Auditor General. They even suppressed the Auditor General for doing their work. And here he's talking about corruption. Thank God. It was not Dixon who said it. You may say, I don't have facts. But the former ambassador of the United States of America to Sierra Leone said that you guys are not investigating corruption when it has to do with yourself.
The commissioner, when I had the commissioner here, Thomas Dixon, when I had the commissioner, he named people in the system who've been taken to court, who've been found, guilty,
the teachers,
convicted. He mentioned the directors.
He
mentioned the directors at Ministry of Information. He mentioned the State House Chief of Protocol. He mentioned quite a few on that very show.
The State House Chief of Protocol, the one that is now ambassador?
Because,
this is how they do things. When it has to do with corruption within the system, they will say we are investigating. They will sweep things under the carpet. And they come with a press release that after investigation, look at a serious offense of the First Lady.
Let's allow Keketoma to respond.
No, let us look at it. You ask a question, let me land. Look at a serious offense that has to do with the office of the president, creating an illegal funding for the First Lady.
The ACC said it is investigating.
They said they are investigating from 1996.
To now. So they are still
They
investigating.
are going backward instead of investigating the
Let's
issue.
allow Keketoma to respond.
So, I keep saying this.
I don't have facts.
Dixon is deficit of facts.
So, I know, that is your defense.
He said, as a government, when it comes to people in government, we become defensive. Nobody is defensive of anybody. Allegations are what you refer to as unproven facts. So let me help you and explain to you. Allegations are unproven facts. So, well, if you listen to me and people listen, we would learn.
I said it allegation.
To criminalize anybody based on allegation is preposterous. In the first place, I like when you made mention to Minister of Information. It is only this government, when we came, the Minister of Information had to formally call the ACC to investigate staff in his ministry who had issues with funding that was given for the COI. The minister, okay? When the issue of the rice came out, nobody knew. It was the president, single-handedly, who set aside the former minister then of basic education. I'm coming, Dixon.
How is the matter?
Now, you made a claim.
The rice matter you are talking about
Dixon, let's listen to each other, please. No, hold on. Let's listen to each other. You made a claim that when it comes to people in government, we are defensive. It was the president. It was the president.
Simbo is in government.
It was the president.
Madam Goja is also in government.
Single-handedly called in for the matter to be investigated. And like I said to him, the problem is he has not fact. He does not understand the difference between allegations.
I don't understand the difference between allegations and facts.
Because you criminalize people, on allegations. No. The fact of the matter is, it's a principle of justice. Everyone is presumed to be innocent.
Leave that to the court.
So when you have allegations,
that is why the SEC must investigate.
Okay? Right. So when the rights came in,
the SEC must investigate.
They investigated. When they investigated, and let me also explain and educate him. The threshold to find anybody guilty of a criminal offense is very high. It's beyond all reasonable doubt. So you don't find somebody guilty on evidence which does not meet that threshold. Okay? It does not work like that. So when the ACC went to court, they said they are going to review their facts and their evidence because it never met that threshold.
It's not because of that.
To come on the TV,
hold on. Because the Attorney General served as a defender.
Hold on, Dixon.
By for the first time instituting a trial by juror and judge.
Shouting.
No. You are talking about facts. Now you are misquoting. You are not playing with the facts.
Dixon, shouting.
You said I don't know.
Shouting
now
does not educate you.
No. It is not because of threshold of corruption.
That was a side issue.
It is because the Attorney General said that the minister should be tried with trial by juror
that
and
was
judge.
A side issue. Let me educate you.
It's not about facts.
Okay.
It's not about facts.
Okay,
let me educate you. Hold on. Let me educate you.
Educate the people.
Okay, hold on.
It's your role as
I'll educate. So listen.
Don't educate me.
So listen.
I know what I'm here for.
It is part of the powers. Let me educate
them.
No, let me educate you.
No, educate the people.
It is part of the powers of the AG.
Educate the people.
It's part of the powers of the AG okay, to look at the procedure, how indictments are made. Okay? So therefore, that was part of the issue.
That was
Okay?
why the ACC
So therefore, so I come back to
That was
the
why
I
the
come back
ACC
to the claim.
the matter of
The
concurrence.
claim he made was when people who have allegations against, people are defending them. So
That is what
I
yes, you are
am
defending.
saying to him,
That is what you are doing
this
now.
was an issue
You are defending only
that
corruption.
the president took
including the
upon
office
himself
of the First Lady.
to address to the ACC. Now to the First
Why
Lady.
did the
Now to the
president
First Lady.
He's responding now.
Dixie,
Please.
sent the
You
matter
see-
of the First Lady to ACC?
You see, the fact of
The
the matter
president
is,
should have sent
you
the matter
see-
of the First Lady
Let
to
him
ACC.
respond to that issue now.
The president really was fighting corruption.
He's responding now.
He should have sent the office
see,
of the First
if-
Lady
you
matter
see,
to
if-
Thomas
you
Dixon.
see-
Thomas Dixon.
No, we are here.
see,
Let
it's
the man
unfortunate.
the man should not be here.
it's unfortunate.
He should not be here to propagate.
Okay,
only.
it's unfortunate.
I know that is why you have. That is what you
Dixie,
are paid
stop
for,
shouting.
to
It's
propagate.
unfortunate,
But
Samuel.
again, we are here to put the
Samuel,
facts on the table.
if you tell
Okay.
him to just, if you tell him
Thomas
to be
Dixon.
quiet, we'll
Thomas
be okay.
Dixon. Let him have his bites.
The fact of the
Dixon.
matter
Okay, let's.
If the president is serious
Dixon.
about fighting corruption, his wife is
And the
If you give me time,
the office wants to
Samuel,
respond to
Samuel,
that.
allegation.
The office wants to
Samuel,
respond to that now. Let the
no,
office respond to
You
that.
have
Let
said
the
your
office
bit.
respond to that now.
Could not respond to BBC.
And he's responding to Sierra Leoneans now. The office is responding to Sierra Leoneans now. Let him respond to Sierra Leoneans now.
You
Go ahead.
see, to be honest, it's unfortunate. We are having a national discourse on serious issue. Shouting, gesticulating is a good way of expressing yourself.
Gesticulating is a good way of expressing. You are
Because
gesticulating.
you are shouting.
You are gesticulating.
No, I'm coming.
You
I've
are
taken
gesticulating.
leave of Samuel.
Go ahead.
If I knew,
You are
if I knew,
not here to tell me about public
if I knew this was part of the discourse, I would not have joined in.
No,
The reason being is,
Thomas
the reason
Dixon.
being is,
Thomas
the
Dixon.
reason being is now.
Thomas Dixon.
Because
If you could dodge the
people,
BBC,
Thomas
people-
Dixon,
you
let's
could dodge the BBC.
let him land. Let him land.
No.
Let him land, please.
Don't use me as a scapegoat.
Stop shouting.
All right, Thomas
You don't need to
Dixon.
shout.
I'm not shouting.
Okay, if you
I'm
listen,
putting the point.
if
Don't,
you, no, you are not making.
don't use me as a scapegoat.
You are not making.
All
a
right,
point.
Thomas
For your
Dixon.
underperformance.
You are not
Thomas
making a
Dixon.
point.
You have an opportunity.
Dixon.
Thomas Dixon.
Dixon.
You've raised
Dixon.
the issue. Let him respond to
You
it,
see,
please.
shouting does not make any case.
You said
okay?
gesticulation
So listen,
is a mark
but
of
you are
goodness.
shouting. But that's rude. You are shouting.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
Samuel,
cannot tell people
if you
how to-
tell him
how
to
to
keep
speak.
quiet, I
Go
will
ahead.
speak.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Go ahead.
No,
Go
you are
ahead.
not the
Okay.
moderator.
You now have
So-
you have the platform. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The issue of the first lady.
Yes.
Okay.
Whenever you make
The issue of the first lady came up. Okay. You should not. It's a rude way of doing it.
Go ahead, please.
The issue of the first lady came up.
Yes.
When it came up, allegations you are made. So like I've always said, I go back to the issue. The issue is allegations are defined as merely unproven facts. Okay? They have to be investigated. Okay? When the allegations came out, things were leaked. Okay? Eventually what happened? Two things happened. The Ministry of Finance, they made a press release explaining the reason why the account was opened, and also giving it to a statutory conditions and obligation wherein the Minister of Finance used for that money to be expended. That is one side of it as a government, okay? Secondly, as I speak to you now, the Anti-Corruption Commissioner also issued a press release that is investigating the matter. So for me to come and comment on the investigation, I am prejudicing the investigation, okay? Because nobody comments on an investigation that is ongoing. Firstly, it is legally inappropriate in the first place, okay? Let us wait after the investigations, the facts will be out and the report will be out, okay? That is for the office of the First Lady. But we go back to the issue of what the president and the government, what we have been doing to address corruption,
Right.
okay? When we came in, even on the Afrobarometer, okay, you realize from 2015 to 2017, people's perception about corruption, it was 70%, okay? Very high. When we came into by 2019, it was 40%. Even people's perception, it's changing. Because people know you have a government who is serious about fighting corruption, but you also have somebody like Francis Ben Kelfala, whichever opinion you have about him, it's personal, but he's doing extremely well to make sure that we fight corruption. Okay? Now, the president also said, they asked him a question when he went to 98. Mr. President, are you satisfied? He said, no. He said, I'm not satisfied. The reason being is that this is somebody who believes that corruption has eaten the fabric of our nation. So therefore, we should do everything we can to make sure we fight corruption. That is why he has always said, it is a fight you are going to fight, it's a fight you are going to win. So, as a government, when things have come to the public domain, we have taken actions. Even things which have not come to the public domain. So I've been mentioned about the issue about the rice saga. It was the president himself who had to authorize the SEC to investigate. I also made mention to the issue about the Ministry of Information. And now he spoke about the Auditor General. The Auditor General was appointed by the EPC before we came to office. When we came to office, okay, President never relieved her of duty, okay? She has been doing her work. It is this government, when we came, we have increased budgetary allocation to audit service. Now we are in almost 2021, we are chasing almost 50 billion. For one simple reason. It is because we believe that the Auditor General and our office, they are playing a critical role for us to address the issue of corruption. And President also believes that as she does that job, okay, she needs all the independence that she needs. But as time goes on, there will be issue about how, for instance, fees, because that was the issue, about fees. And I'm happy that obviously that the Ministry of Finance and the Auditor General, they have come to a conclusion on the issue, and it's now going to the single treasury account, okay? Nobody in this country will look at the job that the audit service is doing and they will say they will shy away from it. They are doing a marvelous job. And as a government and as a president believes that job is critical. He also made mention to the SEC when they released, the Auditor General released a report about NACOVAC. What happened? Every institution all over the world, there are checks and balances, there are issues. For instance, when the Auditor General releases a statement, those are mere allegations.
Yeah, mere allegations.
Because they are claims. It gets to Parliament, okay?
Auditor General's reports are mere allegations.
If you listen,
no, that's what you're saying.
If you listen,
let him justify.
They are mere allegations.
They are allegations.
Just like JFK used to say.
They are allegations, but they are allegations.
Okay, thank you.
They are allegations.
People out there.
So they take it to Parliament. So they take it.
These are expert opinions.
They take it to Parliament, but they are opinions. They take it to Parliament,
like you give your
and Parliament investigates. So, but what have we done? Okay,
not mere opinion.
During the APC time, when they released the Auditor General's report, it used to sit in the shelves.
No.
But what did we do?
No.
Under Francis Ben Kelfala, okay?
It was in fact
year in after year, we are investigating.
We are publicized.
We are prosecuting.
Auditor General's report, we are publicized in APC
Not
time.
only that, but also they are finding people guilty because of Auditor General's report.
Yes.
So when this report came in for NACOVAC, what happened was the SEC also mounted a further investigation because it was a report. They acted on the report and they also did their investigation. Some of the investigation that they did, some of the people, they found out that there are evidence that they had against them. They had to come and pay some of the money back. Some of them had to pay the money back. But there are other issues like the generator, for instance, the SEC had to go back to where they said, and they also realized that that generator, there were issues with it, it was physically there. It is good for our democracy to have the audit service and the SEC serving as almost as checkmate for balance. Because at the end of it, like I said to Dixon, when you have allegations of criminal offenses against anybody, it is the highest thing. Because the issue is, if somebody is found guilty, that person loses his or her liberty. That person is in prison. So for you to make sure you have all those checks and balances, you also ensure that the evidence or pieces of evidence which are there for that person to be found guilty, they are at the highest level. And that's what our government has been doing. We cannot come on TV and criminalize everybody. Criminalize people just because we don't like them. It is preposterous. It's the wrong way of doing things.
The same SEC you are talking about.
It's the wrong way of doing things.
There is a government report, the NPP report on maritime. On maritime about corruption.
Gentlemen.
That is also being investigated.
Now you are referring to.
You don't even know.
In fact, you don't even know. You even said that it is only now that audit reports are being investigated by this. That's not true.
Now, I said to you, what I said to you, they have been investigated,
it is during the
they are prosecuted.
No. That audit report
you are
is made publicized.
You are mischaracterizing me.
It is during the
what
APC
I said
time.
was,
Three things. JFK had problems with Parliament because of audit reports.
Three things.
Now you refer to audit reports as mere allegations. These are expert opinions.
You don't understand what allegations.
No, I don't.
So I speak to you. I speak to you as a lawyer.
These are not mere allegations.
I speak to you as a lawyer.
These are expert opinions.
I speak to you as a lawyer. They are allegations.
All right, gentlemen. Gentlemen, so, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen.
You don't have knowledge.
Gentlemen, gentlemen. Thomas Dixon. Gentlemen. Thomas Dixon. Gentlemen, please. Okay, let's respect the lady. Gentlemen, let's
refer to the audit report as mere allegations.
Gentlemen,
they are allegations. They have to be investigated.
Don't
gentlemen.
It as mere allegations.
All right, thank you.
These are expert opinions.
All right.
These are expert opinions.
Okay, so let me also help you.
You give legal opinion.
No, let me also help
issue.
you. Let me help
Don't refer to it as
okay.
other one
Let me help
opinion.
No, let me
now
help
you self don't come.
Gentlemen, we have to. All right, we have to wrap up the conversation.
Let me help you.
Characterize
Thomas Dixon.
Give
him 30 seconds. Let's wrap up. Give him 30 seconds, please. Go ahead.
I want to educate
Then you give me also
30 seconds. Yes, but if only you don't interrupt. If you don't interrupt.
Okay, give him 30 seconds.
If you interrupt, I'll not give you.
Give him 30
Go ahead.
seconds.
Like I said, apologies to viewers because this show has turned into a complete, cat and fight.
You are using words that you should not use.
Because unfortunately, and I hold Samuel squarely, you have failed to moderate the program. Because this is meant to be an educative program.
I take responsibility.
Exactly.
Go
you
ahead.
have failed to do it.
I've taken
so
responsibility.
So now, let me
Go
also
ahead.
say this. Reports from the Auditor General, these are allegations, okay? They are investigated, and then if those investigations they lead to prosecution, they are prosecuted, people are charged. So three things: investigated, prosecuted, which also means charged, and if they are found guilty by the court, okay, and then they are incarcerated or whatever would happen to it.
All right.
But the fact of the matter is, when we came to office, we've given the audit service so much support.
Yes, sir.
I said by 2021, we have increased their budgetary allocation to more than 50 billion. Okay? So the reason we are doing that is because we think the job they are doing is critical, is important. Okay? But I would not sit on national television to comment on an ongoing investigation because that is prejudicing the investigation. Secondly, I would not sit here to criminalize people who you don't have the evidence to meet that threshold, okay? So all I am appealing to viewers is that we have to ensure that ACC have the independence to do their job. They have to investigate, and where the evidence leads to prosecution, they should prosecute.
All right.
And they have the full backing of the president to investigate anybody in government, out of government, who they will find wanting of any offensive corruption.
All right.
Yes, viewers, I want to say this is one of the best AYV on Sunday program, being very educative. And I want to tell you that audit reports are not mere allegations. In fact, previous audit reports, the current ACC boss has used the previous 2015 audit report to incarcerate Major Paulo Conte, to incarcerate Dr. Richard Conte, and now they are referring to current audit report that is very, very, very much putting the office of the First Lady, the office of the President, Ministry of Finance in bad light as mere allegations without investigating them. And even the COVID audit report as mere allegations. That is what they say. But what I want to tell the people out there, Sierra Leoneans, they are not fools. They know exactly what is happening. We know exactly what is happening.
Okay.
And the people know what they are feeling.
All
as
right.
now people are enjoying
Thank
power
you.
and they are beginning to change tone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas Dixon. Thank you very much, Keketoma Sandi. Thank you very much, Sally Adams. This is all we have time for in tonight's edition of the program, AYV on Sunday. Many thanks to our panelists. Many thanks to you, our lovely audience, for your time. For those of you who who sent messages and we are not able to go through all of them. We apologize, but continue to make this your home of all things credible, factual, and all times balanced news. My name is Samuel Weisbango, and up next is the launch of the Hidden Treasure show. Take care of yourself and catch a repeat of the show on Thursday.
Yes, subscribe. You always dey watch we program them, but you not subscribe yet to the channel. All wetin you get for do, press this red subscribe button, and then you come over here and press this bell. So the bell option, press this one with all. It don't done. It no get for cost you anything. When you do this, na sign for show say you dey support we for make we do more. Thank you for we don't help we for share this program. Yeah, God bless you.